He caught me reading messages I swore I deleted, and the silence that followed hurt more than any argument could. I was reading them in the bathroom. Door locked, shower running to cover the sound, phone screen dimmed so the light wouldn't show under the crack. 3 in the morning and I was crouched on the edge of the bathtub scrolling through messages I'd sworn on our relationship I'd deleted 2 months ago. I miss you. Do you think about me? He doesn't understand you like I do. I'd read them 100 times. Maybe 1,000. I had them memorized, but I kept going back, kept refreshing, kept hoping for something new. Like an addict checking an empty pill bottle. His name was Daniel. We'd met at a conference in Austin, one of those industry things where everyone drinks too much and swaps business cards they'll never use. He was charming. Attentive. We stayed up until 4 in the hotel bar talking about everything and nothing. When he kissed me in the elevator, I kissed him back. When he asked for my number, I gave it to him. I told myself it was harmless. Just texting. Just talking. Jake, my fiancé of 4 years, didn't need to know about every conversation I had. It wasn't cheating if it was just words, right? Just pixels on a screen. Just the rush of someone new finding me fascinating. But it wasn't just words. It was good morning texts that came before Jake woke up. It was staying up late pretending to work while Daniel and I talked about the life we'd have if we'd met first. It was the way my heart jumped when I heard my phone buzz. It was choosing to engage with a fantasy instead of the real man sleeping next to me. Jake found out the first time because I was stupid. Left my laptop open with the messages pulled up. He didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. He just stood there reading, his face getting paler with every scroll. When he finally looked at me, he looked betrayed in a way I didn't think was possible without physical cheating. "It's not what you think," I said, and I actually believed it. "Then what is it?" he asked quietly. I couldn't answer. What was it? A distraction? A way to feel wanted? Proof that I still had it? None of those explanations would make it better. "I'll end it," I promised. "I'll delete everything." It was stupid. It didn't mean anything. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "If it didn't mean anything, you would have told me about him." He was right. But I wasn't ready to admit that yet. "Do you want to marry me?" he asked. "Because if you're having an emotional affair 3 months before our wedding, I need to know now." "Yes," I said. "Yes, I want to marry you. I love you." This was just. I don't know what it was. But it's over. I deleted the messages in front of him. Blocked Daniel's number. Deleted him from social media. Jake watched the whole thing like he was witnessing a performance he didn't quite believe. When I was done, he nodded. "Okay. We'll work on this. But if this happens again, we're done. I can't do this twice." I promised it wouldn't. I meant it when I said it. But I'd saved Daniel's number in my notes app under Mom's new cell. And 2 weeks later, I unblocked him from a different social media account Jake didn't know I had. I told myself I just wanted closure. Just wanted to explain properly why I couldn't talk to him anymore. Just one message. One message became 50. Daniel was understanding. Patient. He said he'd wait for me. He said Jake didn't deserve me if he couldn't see how special I was. He made me feel like I was making some noble sacrifice staying with Jake instead of what I was actually doing, which was being a coward who wanted to keep both options open. The wedding was in 6 weeks. Dress bought. Venue booked. 200 people coming to watch me promise forever to a man I was actively lying to every single day. I kept telling myself I'd stop. Tomorrow. After this conversation. After I said a proper goodbye. I didn't stop. And then it was 3 in the morning and I was in the bathroom reading the same messages for the 1,000th time when I heard the doorknob turn. I'd forgotten to lock it. I looked up and Jake was standing there in his boxers, hair messy from sleep, staring at my phone screen. The shower was still running. Evidence of my lie filling the room with steam. Neither of us moved. He looked at the phone. At me. Back at the phone. I watched him do the math. Watched him realize I'd never deleted anything. Never ended it. Never stopped lying. "Jake," I started. He held up his hand. Turned around. Walked out. I followed him into the bedroom. "Please let me explain." He sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. Silent. "It's not what it looks like," I tried. Still nothing. I was going to delete them. I just needed closure. I was saying goodbye. He lifted his head. Looked at me. His eyes were red but he wasn't crying. He looked tired. Exhausted. Like he'd been carrying something heavy for months and had just finally set it down. "You're not going to yell?" I asked. No, he said quietly. You're not going to fight for us? No. That hurt more than I expected. I wanted him to rage. To give me something to push against, to argue with, to somehow turn this around on him. But he just sat there, looking at me like he was seeing me clearly for the first time and didn't like what he found. Say something, I begged. What do you want me to say? His voice was so calm it scared me. That I'm angry? I'm not. I'm tired. I'm tired of wondering if you're texting him. Tired of checking your phone. Tired of pretending I don't notice when you smile at a message and won't tell me who it's from. I'm just tired. I'll delete it. Right now. For real this time. It doesn't matter anymore. Yes, it does, I said, desperate. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I don't want to fix it, he said it so simply. Like he was telling me the sky was blue. I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering who you're talking to. I don't want to marry someone who thinks I'm not enough. You are enough, I lied. He smiled. It was the saddest thing I'd ever seen. If I was enough, you wouldn't need him. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. He was right. Again. I'm calling the venue tomorrow, he said. I'll handle the cancellations. You can keep the dress. Maybe you'll need it someday. Jake, please? I need you to leave, he said. Not forever. Just tonight. I need to sleep and I can't do that with you here. Where am I supposed to go? He looked at me. I don't know. Maybe wherever you go in your head when you're with me but texting him. That landed like a slap. I packed a bag. He didn't watch. Didn't help. Just sat on the bed staring at the wall. When I got to the door, I turned around. I love you, I said. I know, he said. That's what makes this so much worse. You love me and you still did this. I drove to my friend Becca's house. Sat in her driveway crying, trying to text Jake. He'd already blocked me. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I sent an email. No response. The silence was suffocating. I wanted him to yell. To tell me I was horrible. To give me something, anything. Instead, there was just nothing. Like I'd already ceased to exist. I messaged Daniel. Told him what happened. Told him I was free now. Maybe we could finally try. He took 12 hours to respond. I don't think that's a good idea. You're engaged. This was just supposed to be fun. I sat there staring at that message. Just supposed to be fun. I destroyed my relationship for fun. For ego. For the feeling of being wanted by someone new. 3 days later, Jake's brother showed up at Becca's with the rest of my things. The ring was in a box on top. No note. No explanation. Just my life in garbage bags and a ring I'd never get to wear. Update. He caught me reading messages I swore I deleted, and the silence that followed hurt more than any argument could. The wedding cancellations happened fast. Jake handled everything like I knew he would. Efficient. Thorough. No drama. He lost the deposits but didn't ask me for money. Sent a group text to everyone we knew, the wedding is off. Please respect our privacy. That was it. No explanation. No blame. Just done. But people figured it out. Someone always talks. Probably his sister. Maybe mine. Within a week, everyone knew I cheated. Emotional affair, they called it, like that made it better. Like because I hadn't slept with Daniel, it was somehow less of a betrayal. My friends split into camps. Half stopped talking to me entirely. The other half tried to be supportive, but I could hear the judgment in their voices. What were you thinking? He was so good to you. You threw away 4 years for texts? I didn't have an answer. What was I thinking? I wasn't. I was feeling. And feelings don't give a damn about consequences. I kept trying to reach Jake. Emails, texts from different numbers, messages through mutual friends. He never responded. Not once. The silence stretched from days to weeks to months. It was like I died and he was the only one who knew. I saw him once at a coffee shop 3 months later. He was with someone. A redhead, pretty, laughing at something on his phone. He looked happy. Lighter. Like someone had lifted a weight off his shoulders. I stood in line behind them, close enough to smell his cologne, and he never turned around. Never sensed me there. I used to think we had this connection, that we could feel each other in a room. Apparently that was only ever me. They left holding hands. I left crying. Work became unbearable. We worked at the same company, different departments. I'd see him in the halls sometimes. He'd look through me. Past me. Like I was furniture. Other people noticed. Started avoiding me too, like whatever I had was contagious. Like if they were too friendly, they'd catch the cheater disease. I got passed over for a promotion I deserved. My boss didn't say it was because of my personal life, but I knew. Office politics. Team morale. Can't promote someone everyone sees as untrustworthy. Even if it's just your relationship you betrayed, people assume it extends elsewhere. I started therapy. My therapist asked why I did it. I gave her the standard answers. I felt neglected, unappreciated, taken for granted. She nodded and waited for the real answer. It took 6 sessions before I finally said it. I did it because I could. Because it felt good to be wanted. Because I'm selfish. She asked if Jake had actually neglected me or if I'd just told myself that to justify what I was doing. I couldn't answer. The truth was uncomfortable. Jake had been present. Loving. Steady. Planning our future. And I'd found that boring. I'd wanted excitement. Drama. The rush of something forbidden. I got what I wanted. And it cost me everything. Daniel messaged me once more, 6 months after everything fell apart. Hey, you okay? I stared at that message for an hour. This was the man I'd sacrificed my relationship for. 3 words. Not even a full sentence. I blocked him. Should have done that a year ago. My mom asked about Jake sometimes. Have you talked to him? No, Mom. Do you think you'll work it out? No, Mom. Maybe if you just explained. There's nothing to explain, Mom. I cheated. He left. That's the whole story. My sister was more direct. You fucked up, she said over Christmas dinner. And you don't get to be sad about the consequences. You knew what you were doing. She was right. I did know. Every time I opened those messages, every time I chose Daniel over Jake, I knew. I just thought I wouldn't get caught. Or that if I did, Jake would fight for me. Would give me another chance. Would care enough to yell. But the silence was his statement. It said, you're not worth the argument. You're not worth the energy. You're not worth fighting for because you already proved what you think I'm worth. I dated someone new eventually. Someone who didn't know Jake, didn't know my history. It lasted 3 months before he found out. Someone told him. He didn't react like Jake did. He got angry. Yelled. Called me names. Then he left too. Once a cheater, always a cheater, he said on his way out. Maybe he's right. Or maybe I'm just someone who destroyed the only good thing in her life and has to live with that forever. I scroll through old photos sometimes. Jake and me at the beach. At his sister's wedding. On the couch with his dog. He's deleted them all from his social media, but I kept them. Evidence that I was loved once by a good man who deserved better. The engagement ring is in my jewelry box. I can't bring myself to sell it or return it or throw it away. It sits there collecting dust, a reminder of the promise I broke before I ever made it. People tell me I'll move on. Find someone else. That this will be a lesson learned. But they don't understand. I don't want someone else. And the lesson I learned is that some mistakes don't get fixed. Some bridges don't get rebuilt. Some silences never end. The worst part is knowing he's okay without me. Better, even. I see it in the photos mutual friends post. He's thriving. Found someone who deserves his steadiness, his loyalty, his quiet kind of love. Someone who won't mistake his calm for indifference. Who won't need constant validation from strangers to feel wanted. I had that. I threw it away for pixels on a screen and the ego boost of someone new finding me interesting. I type out messages to him sometimes. Long apologies I'll never send. Explanations that explain nothing. Pleas for forgiveness I don't deserve. Then I delete them. He doesn't need my apologies. He's moved on. He's happy. And me seeking forgiveness would just be another selfish act in a long list of selfish acts. The silence taught me more than any argument could. It taught me that love has limits. That patience runs out. That I'm sorry doesn't magic away betrayal. That some people care enough to walk away instead of fighting for something broken. He gave me chances. I wasted them. He gave me trust. I threw it away. He gave me silence. And in that silence, I finally heard the truth. I told myself I was just reading old messages. That I'd delete them tomorrow. That it didn't mean anything. But he caught me in the bathroom at 3 a.m. with the evidence of my lies glowing in my hands, and his silence told me everything I'd been too cowardly to admit, I'd already chosen, and I hadn't chosen him. You don't get to grieve what you killed on purpose. And the silence that follows isn't punishment. It's just the sound of someone finally putting themselves first.